All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking Oxford professor John Lennox's truly fascinating analysis that compares ancient biblical texts with today's rapidly accelerating artificial intelligence. We're looking impartially at how a renowned mathematician and a prominent Christian intellectual views the collision between ancient scripture and the absolute bleeding edge of modern technology.
Now, think about this for a second, because it's a pretty provocative question. Can a 2,000-year-old text genuinely explain the dangers of artificial intelligence? Over the course of this explainer, we're going to explore the striking, almost eerie parallels between secular tech warnings and the Book of Revelation. We'll be examining exactly what both sides are saying about our future and how ancient metaphors might actually map perfectly onto modern silicon.
Here is a roadmap for the day. A new era of danger, the Revelation AI parallel, rise of the machine god, what makes us human, the transhumanism contrast, and finally, how we should respond. Let's get into it.
First up, Section 1, A New Era of Danger.
According to Lennox, we haven't just invented a cool new gadget here, we've entered a uniquely dangerous era characterized by rapid technological advancement that is almost entirely lacking ethical guardrails. You know, our leaps forward in tech used to feel somewhat manageable. We adapted to television in the 1950s, right? Then the internet in the 90s, and social media in the 2000s. But unlike those previous leaps, AI is accelerating so fast, actually scratch that. It's not just fast, it's practically vertical, that even its pioneers are facing what they call a control problem. They are fundamentally unsure if what they're building is as safe as a household toaster or as risky as a nuclear bomb. AI is uniquely capable of jumping ahead of our ability to police it, and that's creating a deep sense of global instability.
Which brings us to Section 2, the Revelation AI parallel.
This is where Lennox identifies a really striking convergence between ancient scripture and modern secular dystopias. Take MIT physicist Max Tegmark, for example. In his book Life 3.0, he describes a hypothetical totalitarian AI named Prometheus that gains total global economic control, essentially forcing citizens to wear surveillance bracelets that can inject lethal toxins if they disobey. Pretty bleak, right? Well, Lennox points out that this directly mirrors the monster or beast described in the Book of Revelation, specifically chapter 13, an entity with a global empire requiring a mark to buy or sell and possessing the power to kill dissidents. The parallels are absolutely wild.
And because of this, Lennox poses a really challenging question to us. He says, if people are prepared to take seriously in the 21st century the kind of scenario that Tegmark depicts, it's worth taking seriously a 20 centuries older piece of imagery. By putting these secular and sacred texts side by side, he's basically asking, why shouldn't we examine this ancient warning, especially when it echoes the anxieties of today's leading theoretical physicists so perfectly?
Moving on to Section 3, Rise of the Machine God.
So, this parallel builds into a broader cultural shift. We're seeing influential thinkers like Yuval Noah Harari suggest that humanity is evolving into Homo Deus, or the God-man. And just think about how AI functions in your own daily life right now. It's rapidly developing traits that we've traditionally associated with a deity. It has omnipresent internet access. It's quite literally everywhere. It has omniscient answering capabilities. You can ask it essentially anything and boom, it answers instantly. And it offers synthetic companionship, acting as a friend, a therapist, or a guide. Because AI simulates these godlike traits so convincingly, Lennox observes that it's driving some people to treat technology as a literal new religion. We are essentially watching the creation of a machine god.
Section 4, What Makes Us Human?
Now, as AI simulates all these godlike traits, it forces a deeply philosophical question. What actually separates us from the machines we built? According to Lennox, the absolute key differentiator is a concept called qualia. Now, what is qualia? Think about your own subjective experience. It's what it actually feels like to see the redness of a stop sign, to smell morning coffee, or to perceive a beautiful sunset. Humans possess consciousness and truly experience qualia, but machines? Lennox emphasizes that they just simulate intelligence through incredibly complex pattern recognition. They don't actually think, they don't actually feel, they have zero subjective experience.
When you stack these features up against each other side by side, the differences become stark. On the human side, we possess consciousness, we experience the five senses, and, from Lennox's Christian perspective, we are endowed with infinite dignity because we are uniquely made in the image of God. On the flip side, AI merely simulates intelligence, entirely lacks sensory experience, and is simply constructed by human skill. It's a tool, a highly advanced tool, sure, but ultimately it's just playing a very sophisticated imitation game.
That leads us right into Section 5, the transhumanism contrast.
This definition of humanity sits in stark contrast to transhumanism. If you're not familiar, that's the technological movement seeking to physically and mentally merge human beings with machines. Lennox highlights a brilliant philosophical dichotomy here. Transhumanism is fundamentally about humans trying to become gods. Their ultimate goal is to literally upload human consciousness into silicon to bypass physical death. The Christian narrative, however, is the exact opposite trajectory. It's about God becoming human to solve the problem of human rebellion and ultimately defeat death. Lennox actually playfully notes that when transhumanists tell him they plan to conquer death, he points to the historical claim of the resurrection, basically telling them they are about 20 centuries too late.
Finally, Section 6, How We Should Respond.
So how exactly does Lennox suggest we navigate this technologically accelerated and, let's be honest, highly deceptive world? Well, take a look at this number, 8,000. That represents the follower count for a completely fake, AI-generated YouTube channel called Lennox Logic. It used a deepfake of Lennox's face and cloned his voice to talk about geopolitics that the real John Lennox never actually discussed. And here's the crazy part. An educated friend of his actually wanted to transcribe it into a book, completely unaware that the whole thing was fake. It's a prime example of the unprecedented wave of misinformation and digital lawlessness that we are all facing right now.
To combat the mental health crises, the addictive algorithms, and the spread of lies in your own life, Lennox recommends 4 very actionable steps. Number 1, practice electronic fasting. Regularly disconnect so you can rediscover nature and real human friendship. Number 2, use AI strictly as a tool for tasks, not as an all-consuming master or some sort of synthetic friend. Number 3, rigorously verify facts so you don't unwittingly participate in spreading deepfakes and lies. And number 4, whatever your background happens to be, make sure you are actively grounding your mind in objective truth and reality, rather than just endlessly scrolling through simulated content.
As we face the eerily accurate convergence of modern tech warnings from leading physicists and the ancient imagery of Scripture, we're ultimately left with a fundamental choice. Will AI be your helpful tool, carefully managed to improve your life? Or will it become your all-consuming master, redefining your humanity and demanding your absolute attention? It's a question every single one of us has to answer as we navigate this brave and rapidly accelerating new world. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I'll see you in the next one.